Hello and happy holidays from the Movie Mouth Film and TV podcast. It's the most wonderful time of the year, and we have a jam-packed logule of a show for you this week, featuring a Christmas classic voted for by you, the listeners, in our video store corner classic review section. But before all that, we're going to tell you if Spider-Man No Way Home blew the cobwebs away from a rather tired year of Marvel cinematic releases during our spoiler-free review section. We'll also be telling you if Neo is still the one in The Matrix Resurrections, whether Matthew Vaughan's World War I era set prequel, The King's Man, has run out of steam, alongside a new film from a directing upstart called Steven Spielberg, bringing us his first ever musical in the form of West Side Story. That kid is surely going to go far. And also we have acting powerhouse Sandra Bullock aiming for award-level acclaim in Netflix's original movie, Unforgivable. Pause for breath. And just when you thought the shitter was full, it's Christmas time, so we also wanted to grab a moose-shaped glass of spiked eggnog and sit down to watch the voted for by you video store corner seasonal classic National Lampoons Christmas Vacation. On top of it all, we'll be discussing the latest film news, trailer reactions, and throwing in as much film geekery as you've come to expect from the Movie Mouth team. This is Miles, and as ever, I am joined by a man who once said, now, just a minute. Hold on, Mr. Potter, just a minute. Now, you're right when you say my father was no businessman. I know that. Why he ever started this cheap penny ante building and loan, I'll never know. And neither you nor anybody else can say anything against his character because of his whole life. Why, in the 25 years since he and Uncle Billy started this thing, he never once thought of himself. Isn't that right, Uncle Billy? He didn't save enough money to send Harry to school, let alone me. But he did help a few people get out of your slums, Mr. Potter. And what's wrong with that? Why, here, you're all businessmen here. Don't it make them better citizens? Doesn't it make them better customers? You said that what did you say just a minute ago? They had to wait and save their money before they even thought of a decent home. Wait, for what? Until their children grow up and leave them? Until they're so old and broken down that you know how long it takes a working man to save $5,000? Just remember this, Mr. Potter, that this rabble you're talking about, they do most of the working and paying and living and dying in this community. Well, is it too much to have them work and pay and live and die in a couple of decent rooms and a bath? Anyway, my father didn't think so. People were human beings to him. But to you, a warped, frustrated old man, they're cattle. Well, in my book, he died a much richer man than you'll ever be. It's a wonderful life. Every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings. It's Phil. Hi, Phil.
Jesus Christ. Hello there.
Merry Christmas.
Merry bloody Christmas to you. How are we?
How have you been, and have you put your tree up yet?
Yes, I have a tree up in the house and also right next to me in the little recording room that I am in. You can't see it.
Well, first question. Considering that you have 2 trees,
yeah,
do you have any movie-themed decorations? Or TV-themed, for that matter?
No. I don't think.
You're not the geek.
Oh, no, wait. I did have
some.
Were. I think I have got some Star Wars ones, actually, on the other one. Some little stormtroopers. Yes, I do. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You didn't want to wrap your hoverboard in tinsel.
It's a bit heavy for the tree.
Well, that's true. You could put it under the tree, though, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Or you could hover over it.
I'm just going to zoom. I'm just going to put the tree in the middle of the room and then get on my hoverboard and just zoom around it, and round.
Why wouldn't you? If you have a hoverboard, why wouldn't you do that?
Right.
Wearing a Father Christmas outfit.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I have a Ghostbusters Bill Murray hanging on the tree, and he's talking as well. He says things like, "We came, we saw, we kicked its ass." And we also have.
Well, automatically he does that, or you just press it?
He does it. You press a button. Yeah. Sometimes he jingles and he jangles. It's pretty cool. I got some random sushi things on there. I don't know why. My girlfriend.
Real sushi.
Yeah, actual sushi. I also have popcorn, a medium-sized Coca-Cola, and a film reel on there, hanging on there, which is very movie mouth.
You know what a tree is for, right? It's not for just daily things that you put in a tree. You don't just. It's not like a fridge. I haven't got like a steak dinner in the tree and a I
Have
don't
you
know.
got a guitar on your tree?
I should do.
I fucking do.
Yeah, I bet you do.
You're right. I haven't got any actual Christmas ornaments. I've just got
No.
random things from things that I like on the
You
tree.
just shoved your lunchbox in the tree and a thermos flask and
why not?
your
Shouldn't
shoes.
that be what it's all about? Would you like to tell the listeners about the Xmas present that you bought for yourself this week?
Oh, I would. Yeah. Actually, do you know what? I got an email saying that's been dispatched today. So, listeners, very excitingly, my favorite movie weapon of all time is easily the pulse rifle from the Aliens movie.
Make the noise. Pretty good.
Was that a good
impression? That sounds like a pigeon that's really cold.
Yeah. And the geek that I am, the huge geek that I am, I bought a 3D printed model kit of the pulse rifle. It's full size, and I intend to do lots of work on it, spray it up, and even if I can get hold of one, there's a few companies that do them, but install one of the LED like ammo counters.
Yeah,
that goes in on the magazine,
so that when they're firing the gun, you can see.
Yeah, I mean, this one isn't like a full moving parts one, like some of the really extravagant ones out there, because you can get them like people sell like conversion kits where you can like it has like a light on the end that you can cock because it's got like the shotgun on the front of it.
Yep.
As well, like you can cock that part of it and it makes that sound, and it's ridiculous. You can get it with sound and light kits and everything. But yeah, I just want this to sort of hang on the wall. But it's a bit of a fun project, like for me to, what I'm like. I made my own hoverboard, for God's sake. So why not make my own pulse rifle?
You also made a hoverboard for me, but you haven't made a pulse rifle for me, as far as I can tell, Phil.
Well, buy your own.
You got to keep the listeners updated on that. I think you need to.
I will post some pictures
pics
in progress when it arrives, and then when I'm working on it. It'll take a little while yet, but yeah, absolutely doing that.
That sounds good. Are you doing? Is there anything else movie themed that you're going to be doing this Christmas?
No.
Building a pulse rifle, I would say, is pretty much the most movie themed thing.
That's about the most movie thing I can think of doing. I might not get it. I don't know when I'm going to get it yet, but it's been dispatched. It's exciting. I read the email today that it's on its way.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Christmas is like in 2 days, so it's going to be a little
true.
Yeah.
Well, if you're listening to this, Christmas is in 2 days, but you may be listening to this after Christmas. You may be sitting on a beach somewhere in Jamaica listening to this in the middle of summertime. Who knows? Christmas was in 2 days when we recorded this, and Phil has probably built his gun by now, and hopefully hasn't been arrested for carrying it to his local
running down the
supermarket.
street and it game over, man, game over, like running around with it. Yeah,
they're in the walls.
Yeah.
I'm actually I'm doing the most nerdy yet opulent Christmas thing I could ever do this year.
Right.
That is off the back of my dressing up as Harry and Marv for Halloween with my girlfriend, and running around New York dressed as a Ghostbuster.
Yeah.
I'm staying for 2 nights in a suite at the Plaza Hotel in New York, which for any movie fans out there, Home Alone 2 fans will know it's, of course, where Macaulay Culkin stays and spends his alone time over Christmas, eating cheese pizza and ice cream and giving out sticks of chewing gum to the butlers and stuff. So I actually, when I made the reservation, I actually called them up on a talk boy and slowed it down, and I requested one of those rooms that has a fridge with a little key. Credit card, you got it.
This is the father.
Unfortunately, they hung up on me immediately, so I went on booking.com and booked it there and stuff.
Probably because they get that like every day from some arsehole around the world.
Some massive
just repeating it down the phone to them. Are you hoping to meet Donald Trump in the lobby?
I mean, I'd probably say, more to him than just ask him directions. Do you know what I mean? I'd probably ask him directions to my foot going into his bottom.
Into his cavity.
Could you turn around, bend over, so I can kick you in the ass, please? Merry Christmas, you filthy animal, and then walk off.
You filthy animal.
You were smooching with everybody. So we'll see how that goes. What have you been watching these past few weeks, Phil? Been watching anything seasonal?
Not seasonal, I guess, but
Humbug to you, sir.
humbug. But I did start watching after you mentioned it the Cowboy Bebop Netflix series, the live action
John
one.
Cho.
John Cho, yeah, and I'm really enjoying it. I think I'm about 5 episodes in. It's very silly, but I think, and listeners, I've not watched the anime. I'm sorry, but I'm going to. On the back of this, I want to watch it, and I've added that to my Netflix list as well now. And I know I probably should have done because it's very well, highly regarded.
Very well hung. I thought you were going to
say. So yeah, I will watch it after this, I should think. So, but yeah, it's good fun. I think at first it felt like you've watched it, haven't you?
high budget first episode.
Yeah,
and then very low budget for the rest of it.
Yeah, that's it. But it also felt like watching a computer game cutscene the entire time, if you know what I mean. It just felt like that.
Yeah.
For the first episode.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know what you mean.
less so as it goes on.
Yeah, I think that's to do with the budget. I think they put, Netflix put a lot of money into the pilots, and obviously they made it, they loved it, they actioned it off the back of it, but they probably said, right, now this budget you had for this one episode, we're going to stretch over the entire season. And I think there's only 8, is it 8 or 9 episodes, something like that?
9, I think. Yeah,
9 episodes.
Yeah.
Question: is Jet Black and I can't remember his name. It's what's his name?
What?
John Cho in that? Yeah.
Isn't he? Oh God, what is he?
Fearless.
Yeah, that's it.
Are we Fearless and Jet Black? Because I feel like we might be the podcast equivalent of Fearless and Jet Black.
100%. That is me and you. 100%. That's me and you. Because I'm Jet Black. I'm
without doubt. You're the muscle of the operation.
I'm the muscle. I'm sorting out all the technical stuff, getting us from A to B. You're just fucking floating around in a suit, just like wandering off, getting noodles and sorting out your own complicated life.
I do love
while
ramen.
I'm in the background.
I do love ramen, and I do have a dark history.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just wish I had that body.
Definitely me and you.
Yeah.
I wish I had a metal arm like Spike, like Jet Black does.
Yeah. You probably will do it one day. I can imagine you actually building one after you build your pulse rifle. Walking around with a metal arm. Awesome. So you've been enjoying that?
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, I've been really enjoying it. And as I said, I'm going to watch the anime now on the back of this. For sure.
Yeah, I've been catching up on... well, a friend of mine, a few people I know told me to watch Netflix's The Witcher, which I vaguely recall you reviewing. At some point. I know we talked about it.
I think we talked about it. I'm not sure. I can't remember because I can't remember if I've seen.
I'm sorry, like for everyone that's recommended it to me, I'm trying. I really am, but I really don't like it. I am literally just watching it because people keep telling me to watch it, and I am struggling with it.
Right.
I
can't give an opinion. I can't remember
the whole way through it. He's, don't talk to my horse like that. I'm the fucking Witcher, all right? Have you got any good spells for me?
Just talks like that the whole way through it.
You're the guy from Resident Evil.
What are you buying? What are you selling? What are you selling, stranger? What are you buying? Plenty of things on sale, stranger.
It's just, I don't know. Like, I think I'm a little exhausted from fantasy, swords and sorcery from Game of Thrones. And I just kind of feel like, I know that the second season's just come on, so I kind of wanted to catch up with that. But obviously, Henry Cavill, huge nerd. He's obviously having a huge nerdgasm all the way through this, and God bless him, he's brilliant. But I just can't get into it. I don't know why. Disney Plus's Hawkeye, similar situation. I love an MCU product. You know that. We're going to talk about one later in the show. Okay. But I'm struggling with this for some reason. I can't get into Hawkeye. I feel like maybe the MCU and Disney have oversaturated the streaming platform a little bit this year. It's like we had we had quite a few shows this year already. I think something like 5 or 6 properties this year. It's just a little too much. I am continuing to power through Curb Your Enthusiasm, the latest season, which is pretty good. And I also got a trip into the cinema to watch something, not to review it, but to just enjoy it. and I went on my own to see Come On, Come On, starring Joaquin Phoenix, which is a really touching indie drama about an uncle connecting with his young nephew and traveling around the US. And they interview real people and about their philosophies on life and this kind of thing. Really nice movie. And got me back to doing my favorite thing of just sitting in a cinema and watching art and not having to, critique or review it in any way. And that was really nice. But less about me and more about Christmas, because it is Christmas time, folks. And with that in mind, Phil and I love to sit down and watch some classic Christmas movies, as I'm sure you do. So I thought, why don't we come up with a top 5 list of our favorite Christmas films to watch? Maybe you've seen them, maybe you haven't, maybe you want to go back and rewatch them. Phil, top 5. Let's start with number 5. What did you go for?
I went for Jingle All the Way.
Put the cookie down!
Put that cookie down! Yeah. I love Jingle All the Way. I think, well, I love Arnie and I love Christmas films. So what's not to love? It's a good, fun film.
It is a good, fun film. It is a good, fun film. I mean, we posted a meme earlier this week about how that film would be void in today's society because, of course, the film sees Arnold Schwarzenegger trying to buy a Turbo Man doll for his young son for Christmas and pretty much failing. But, of course, in the day of e-commerce and Amazon, there was a really great meme where he just buys it online and gets it delivered.
It just says, the end.
The end.
Order successful. The end.
Question, whatever happened to Sinbad?
I don't know. What did happen to Sinbad? He was in that, and that was it.
The last time I saw him, he was in an episode of Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which was a pretty funny episode.
Right.
Phil Hartman's great in that film as well.
Oh, Phil Hartman's brilliant in that. Yeah.
Are you like so trying to hit on Arnie's wife or something in that movie?
Yeah, like the entire time. He's like a single parent, isn't he?
That was
and
the
he
best
just
part.
hates you for it. It's just, it is when he phones up about the cookies and he's just like,
"Oh, you've got to try these cookies." Oh,
yeah, they were his wife's
your
cookies.
Wife's cookies are amazing.
Yeah, and he's like, "Put that cookie down." It's amazing.
Put the cookie down now. I love it.
I want to watch it again. I'm going to see that. I'm going to watch Jingle All the Way.
Go on, number 4.
Number 4. I put this week's Video Store Corner in at number 4, National Lampoons Christmas Vacation. It's one of those films that I just always watch it every year.
Every year.
It's just, you just stick it on. It's like an hour and a half of just 80s Christmas fun, isn't it?
It really is. And undertones of real macabre menace and hatred.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. Which we'll go into later, I'm sure.
No shit.
When we talk about it. Yeah, that's number 4 for me.
Number 3.
Number 3 is one, I don't know, maybe people forget about a bit, but I grew up watching this at Christmas time and we had it on video and I remember watching it a lot. And it's Santa Claus the movie.
Ooh.
The Dudley Moore one, Don Lithgow, from 1985. I love that film. And that was real sort of me. That was a real, I watched it when I was really young. Like, I was like 1 when that came out. So they would have shown that on TV a lot when I was growing up. And I just really like that film.
We're the same age, and I remember watching that on TV. It used to be on TV a lot, didn't it, when we were kids? Every Christmas, I think it was on.
Yeah.
And it just felt like Christmas when that was on, wasn't it?
Yeah. And do you know what the weird thing? This is gonna be for probably the British viewers only. The wife of Santa Claus in that film is played by the lady who plays Hyacinth Bouquet's sister in Keeping Up Appearances, a very 90s British TV comedy show.
The one that's married to Alonzo.
Onslow. Onslow. Yeah, I think it's Onslow. Yeah, or something.
Onslow.
Like that. Yeah, it's her. Yeah, she plays Santa Claus's wife in that film. Because it was weird because that was on around the same time, so it was just like, oh, that's her from Keeping Up Appearances in like a Hollywood movie.
You've blown your trivia load far too early, Phil. Very early in the show. Usually you save it till the end.
There's plenty more where that came from.
All right, number 2.
Number 2 is again another stone cold Christmas classic, and that is Home Alone. 1990. Brilliant.
Somewhere in my memory.
And what did I send? I sent you a picture yesterday, didn't I? That was very
Mm.
depressing, and it said that I don't know. I haven't fact checked this, but
Mhm.
I'm sure it's probably true. And it's the fact that Macaulay Culkin is 4 years older than Catherine O'Hara, who plays his mum in Home Alone, was when she was playing his mum,
That's
which is
amazing.
absolutely terrifying. Yeah, Home Alone.
It
what a
really
movie.
is terrifying. It
Yeah.
really is. What a movie, though.
What a movie.
And number one, I'm going to guess. I'm going to throw this out there. Ready?
It's an easy guess, isn't it? God.
Ready? Mr. Takagi will not be joining us for the rest of his life.
Bingo.
It
Oh, it's Die Hard, isn't it? It's got to be.
has to be.
It is number one, numero uno, easily for me.
So
and
good.
a lot of other people out there as well. I think to
Get
people of our
together,
age,
come out to the
especially.
coast, have a few laughs.
It's just what a film, what an action film. It's one of the best action films of all time for me. It's just, and it's based at Christmas. What's not to love?
I know.
So just
I know.
it gives, and it's good because it just gives me an excuse to just put it on every year
Oh,
at Christmas time.
I put it on every year. I usually put it on weirdly when I'm wrapping my gifts because the sound of the German terrorists' machine guns drowns out any noises of the wrapping, of the doing things that I might be doing in that room when I'm watching. It's like, even actually saying that, even Al Pal's handgun, police issue handgun at the end when he blows
Yeah, that's a beast of a gun, that thing.
yeah, it's amazing. It's like a cannon.
Yeah.
What a movie! What a choice!
Yeah.
Never bettered, I think. You wouldn't have had Die Hard 2 in this list or Home Alone 2?
No.
Okay.
Both good
Well-
films, but not a patch on the others.
I mean, no surprises on my list. Number 5. Well, actually, these might be surprises, but at the top of my list, there won't be any surprises. Number 5. Oh, this is weird, but I love it so much. The Polar Express.
Oh,
I love
yeah.
it. I
Yeah.
love it. I've always loved
Yeah.
it. It's
Yeah.
just brilliant. Robert Zemeckis,
Yeah.
Alan Silvestri, Back to the Future link up.
Yes.
Obviously, it's motion capture, and this is before real decent Avatar level motion capture.
Oh, yeah.
But this is where Zemeckis formed his IM Global Image Movers Global studio, production studio, and it's just something about this film. It just really has it's a really kind of has a real atmosphere to it, and it's a little, I don't know, melancholy in places. And yes, the eyes of all of the children characters are very dead. But I really like it. And also, amazingly, Tom Hanks played every role in this film, pretty much, which is including the little boy, the hero child in this film. So
Yeah.
in motion capture, to really show what motion capture could do. So I think it's great. In a similar vein, and this is, again, a completely personal thing. I'm a massive Jim Carrey fan, as you will know.
I do know.
I do not like The Grinch. The Grinch is not in my list. I'm not a Grinch fan, but A Christmas Carol is.
Okay.
Again, Zemeckis, motion capture, Silvestri, but Jim Carrey, Colin Firth, and Carrie Elwes, a little team up again from Liar Liar. In this, love it. And the soundtrack's incredible. And again, I remember seeing this in 3D, and I saw it the same day that I went to see Jim Carrey turn on the Christmas lights in Oxford Street in London.
Right.
And I went to see the movie and then went to see him press the button, which was pretty cool. But I love that film. And like back in the day when 3D was in and I had a 3D TV and all that stuff, it was so good with the snow falling down and all that kind of thing. Moving on, number 3, Christmas Vacation. We'll talk about that later. Number 2,
Yes.
Die Hard.
2? Get out.
It has to be number 2 because Home Alone is my number 1 favorite.
Oh,
it can
okay.
only
So we
be
swapped
my
1 and
number
2.
1 favorite. We did swap, but we are close,
Fair
aren't
enough.
we? They were
That's
so
all right.
close, but Home Alone simply because my brother gave me the video, and when I was very, very young, and I watched it like 4 times in a day. I think in the middle of summer because the movie came out at Christmas, and it came out on video like 6 or 7 months after back then. And I remember like wearing out the videotape, and I've loved that film. I've loved that film ever since. I think I was probably Macaulay Culkin, like when I was a kid. Like how annoying he is in that film.
Yeah.
I was pretty much that kid. I probably still am that child, but a selfish little twerp. But I love it, and for that reason, it's got to be number one.
Fair enough. I mean, yeah, that's fair.
I'll tell you what I will though. I will give a special mention to your favorite, Nicolas Cage. Have you seen The Family Man?
No, I don't think I have actually.
Right. Listeners, if you haven't seen The Family Man, starring Nicolas Cage and Tia Leone, it's about Nicolas Cage is a man living a life of selfish yuppie opulence in New York City, only to one day wake up at Christmas time to find that he actually married his high school sweetheart and they had a family in the suburbs, and he has like a, kind of average job compared to what he was doing in the city and all this kind of thing. Working in like a tire firm or something versus being like an advertising exec or something like that. Anyway, it's kind of Scrooged. It's kind of a Christmas Carol. It's a Christmas morality tale, but I really like it. I think it's a genuinely good film, and I think those kind of morality tales, I think they're good things to watch at Christmas. So if you haven't seen The Family Man, that's like my outsider movie that if you've worn out all of the others, check out The Family Man. I think you'll like it.
That sounds good.
Oh.
Little Miles Christmas top tip.
Top tip for Christmas. Merry Christmas, Phil.
Top tip.
Should we jump into the news?
Let's do it.
Cool. I'll get started off. I just wanted to make a special mention that our Ghostbusters Afterlife spoiler special went live just a few weeks ago. If you saw that movie and wanted to dissect it with a trio of movie nerds who love nothing more than Ghostbusters and secretly wish we were them, well, the Movie Mouth Ghostbusters spoiler special is free now on all podcast streaming apps for you to listen away at your heart's content. References to the original movies, who blubbed the hardest. If you need help finding it, hop on over to our Instagram page at Movie Mouth Podcast and hit the link in the bio, where we have conveniently added it to our Linktree page for your immediate earhole consumption. Go listen to that. Also, in upcoming news, we're also going to be recording an end of year spectacular, which is going to feature all of our favorite moments, worst moments, favorite scenes, greatest performances, cinematography, greatest moments going to the cinema, all of that good stuff. We're going to be recording that over the holiday period, and we will be releasing it probably to coincide with the new year. So keep an eye out for that on all of your podcast players of choice. And for any latest news, if you'd like to stay up to date, please follow us at moviemouthpodcast.com or visit our brand new website, which is moviemouthpodcast.com. Check it out. Phil, in the news, what have you been consuming?
Well, you mentioned our little Ghostbusters Afterlife spoiler special. Well, I have some Ghostbusters game news, which is interesting. Little game movie tie-in. So, and that Ernie Hudson has revealed that there is good news for Ghostbusters fans because a new video game based on the franchise is being developed. I think the 2009 Ghostbusters game was very well received, did really well, didn't it? And then got a remaster as well, which was really cool. And that was good because that was the first time that a lot of the cast had sort of lent their voices to things. And
yeah,
it was
the entire original cast, in fact, we were in that movie.
Right. Yeah, everyone, which is really
cool.
in
the game. Yeah.
In the game, yeah. So that's really good. He's not said like who. I think he said that Dan Aykroyd's definitely on board for it. Not sure about Bill Murray. Bill Murray's Bill Murray. Probably not. Who knows?
I don't know. You'd be surprised. They just need to leave a message on his answer phone and see if he turns up at someone's house to accept it.
Yeah, why not? And so that's really cool. So that's in the works apparently. A new Ghostbusters game. And then the other quick bit of news I had was that Brad Pitt's. Oh, excuse me, I've got a bubble in my throat. Did you hear that?
Pitt.
Brad Pitt. I'm going to watch that new Brad Pitt's. It's pretty good, that.
Brad Pitt.
It's Brad Pitt and William Dafoe.
Yes, Brad Pitt's Bullet Train has now been delayed until summer 2022. So it's his new upcoming action film with Sandra Bullock, who we'll also be talking about later on.
Oh, wow.
It was originally set to be released in April, but has been pushed back to July, sort of right in the middle of the summer blockbuster season. And the story is that it follows 5 assassins who all find themselves on a fast-moving bullet train and realize that their individual assignments are connected to each other.
It can't be set in London, can it? Fast-moving bullet train.
Not a fast-moving bullet train. No way.
The delayed 10:39 service to London, Liverpool Street, is delayed by 35 years. I mean, this is directed by David Leitch, who famously directed the first John Wick with Chad Stahelski, Atomic Blonde. He also did Deadpool 2, a film that you and I really enjoyed.
We did
when you were over here. So really looking forward to this. It's got an amazing cast, hasn't it? As well, Michael Shannon's in there, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Logan Lerman, like Brian Tyree Henry. I love him. I want it now.
Good.
And so when was that delayed till?
Summer 22.
Okay, I mean that's fine.
It's not. Yeah, it's not like not a massive delay, but it's from like April to the July, so it's just been delayed
possibly reshoots or possibly because of COVID. Is it filmed in Japan?
I don't know actually. I really don't know. The title, bullet trains sort of associated with there, but I don't know. I'm not.
It's based on a Japanese novel by Kotaro Isaka, apparently.
Oh well, then there's probably maybe Who knows?
Would like to think that it is. It looks like it was filmed. Yeah, it was filmed in LA. It was filmed on the Sony Pictures backlot. So I would have thought it was something to do with the travel or COVID or something along those lines, but perhaps reshoots maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Anything else?
No, that's my news.
I've got one little bit of news, and this actually sent my Peter Dinklage alarm to start dinkling.
Dinkler.
It did. After Joe Wright's upcoming musical Cyrano, which is based on the play Cyrano de Bergerac, featuring the music of one of my personal favorite rock bands, The National, Peter Dinklage is due to star in The Toxic Avenger, which is, as he quotes, not a remake of the original Toxic Avenger. By the way, a film that should possibly be coming to Video Store Corner at some point next year, I would imagine.
Definitely.
And he was quoted as saying it's a lot of fun. He just wanted to do something that he's never done before, so why not be a monster in an over-the-top crazy movie, and why not sing in another one? So the original film saw a janitor bullied by customers at a health club where he works, who then falls into a vat of toxic goo and emerge as a super strong but hideously deformed person. He uses his newfound size to protect the innocent and fight crime, despite the efforts of the authorities to stop him for their own corrupt ends. I want to see the remake with Dinklage, and I want to get this up on our Video Store Corner at some point. Vote to see whether our listeners will want to watch it. But I'm definitely all for that. Anything with Dinklage, I'm down.
Down for Dinklage.
Down for the Dinklage. Trailers, we got quite a few this week. Do you mind if I get us started off?
You go for it.
Real quick, just while I'm in the flow here. Well, followers of our Instagram page will have seen our excited post about the trailer for Robert Eggers' new movie, so The Northman, which dropped earlier this week. For fans of his previous work, such as goat-based horror The Witch, or seagull-based horror black and white film The Lighthouse, this sees Eggers on a much more broader scope with a Viking revenge thriller epic where we see Alexander Skarsgård on a quest to avenge what appears to be the death of his father, played by Ethan Hawke, and his mother, played by Nicole Kidman, who appears to have been kidnapped. This reunites Eggers with The Witch breakout star Anya Taylor-Joy and mad-eyed lighthouse keeper William Dafoe. I think we're going to have to call him William Dafoe from now on, even though we know his name is Willem Dafoe. I just feel like it's William Dafoe. Trailer looks stunning and features some really impressive moments of action. There's a really cool moment, isn't there, where Skarsgård is kind of, well, actually, the entire trailer is Skarsgård running bare-chested through mud and destroying pretty much everything in his wake. Really cool moment. He like catches a spear.
They throw off like the rampart and it
off the rampart, and he throws it back.
He throws it back.
It looks really cool. Looks like a really broad canvas, like much more broader than any of his other films that Robert Eggers has done, but he's a real talent, so I think that looks fucking awesome, to be
I'm
honest.
really looking forward to that. You know me, I love a battle and Vikings and shit, just swords and mead and drinking horns.
I mean, that's you in a nutshell.
Yeah,
Or is this you?
basically,
Help! I'm in a bloody great nutshell. My name's Phil.
Good one. Good one.
It was an Austin Powers reference. Go fuck
That
yourself.
was terrible.
This coffee tastes like shit.
It is shit, Austin.
It's a bit nutty, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't wait for that. Northman,
Mm.
really good. That's coming out. Yeah, April. Did you say that when it's coming out? It's
I
coming
think
out
it's
in
April.
22.
Yeah, it didn't have a date on the trailer, but I think it is
No,
April.
It is April.
Um,
So that's cool.
Yeah, I saw another one as well, just quickly. If you've seen No Way Home already and you stayed till the very end of the credits, you'll have already seen this teaser. But then this is not a spoiler because it's now out. But there's plenty to pour over in the new Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness movie, which looks absolutely batshit crazy. The kind of final beat of this movie focuses on Doctor Strange versus an evil Doctor Strange. And it basically follows on from the events of Spider-Man No Way Home, which, if you've seen the trailer, you'll have seen Doctor Strange casting a spell that tears open the very fabric of our universe, exposing a multiverse within the MCU. This also brings back a lot of other performers from the MCU, most notably Elizabeth Olsen's Wanda Maximoff, or Scarlet Witch, who you will have seen in WandaVision earlier this year on Disney Plus. And this again follows on from the events of that show. Chiwetel Ejiofor's back as well as Mordo in this with a really cool like dreadlock kind of hairstyle. Looks pretty fun. They don't give a lot away in this. I feel like most of this trailer is kind of parts of the kind of final confrontation and parts of the kind of build up at the beginning of the movie. But I feel like there's a lot more visual excitement to come from this, especially when you consider that obviously that the man at the helm is of course Sam Raimi, who directed Movie Mouth's favorite Darkman, but also of course 3 of those original Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies. So visually, orally, it's probably going to be pretty crazy. So looking forward to that, and that comes out that actually comes out May 6th. 2022. So not long to go for that one. Really excited for that, especially off the back of Spider-Man that we'll talk about later. Phil.
Well, I think, yeah, I mean, the next trailer, what can we say? So, as you know, we're fans of,
Don't tell me. Hang on a second. Hang on. This is either going to be, right, let me try and think about it. This is either going to be like a Bruce Willis trailer, or it's going to be a Nicolas Cage trailer.
Well, you are correct with the second guess.
Oh my God. Do you know what I thought you were going to say? They're both in it.
Are we? I mean, I did actually watch a Bruce Willis trailer last week for a new film. And I just mentioned this quickly. Why is he only making absolute dog shit films at the moment?
Debts, like alimony,
massive debt. It's just awful. It's really depressing. It's like he just makes these fucking like sci-fi channel worthy crap action films at the moment, and it's really
it's sad,
depressing.
really. I don't know why he's doing it. It just seems I don't know. He just has so much talent, and it's kind of cynical, kind of a cynical move from him. But if there's more to it in his personal life, who knows? But it's just a shame, really.
Yeah, it's a shame. But anyway, and then speaking of someone who also really did the same thing for a while, but hopefully
appears to be on the comeback trail. By the way.
Exactly, and especially with this film. So Nicolas Cage, the new film called The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Yes.
With
I saw this.
Nicolas Cage playing a version of himself. And this looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. So the story revolves around Cage, who, facing immense financial burden, agrees to take a gig entertaining a rich superfan played by Pedro Pascal.
This is the way.
And for like $1 million or whatever they offer him. And but then when Cage is recruited by a CIA operative played by Tiffany Haddish, things take an unexpected and dangerous turn. So it features loads of references to Cage's career in the
Mm-hmm.
trailer and his personal life as well. And it seems like he's a really good sport. Like it looks like he's happy to take the piss out of himself. From the change in his as we said, like the change in the type of films he's making, his financial troubles. But it looks like it's going to be a good sort of Cage comedic performance. There's some really good moments in the trailer just look like it's just going to be a really silly
The moment when he's trying to pull Pedro Pascal over a wall and he's like screaming, the bees, kind of screaming. And then Pedro Pascal, he lets him go, falls to the floor, and then Pedro Pascal walks around the wall and he's like, we could have just walked around the wall. I mean, it was brilliant.
He's like, save yourself. And then just drops him and he goes, okay, bye. Just jumps over.
It looks great. This has got Movie Mouth written all over it.
Oh, yeah.
So will this be, I would say, the first Nicolas Cage trailer since we've started the Movie Mouth podcast where you actually watch the film when it comes out?
Yes. It will be, actually, yeah.
Because I think we've watched a lot of Nick Cage trailers but haven't bothered to watch the film.
Yeah.
Mm.
But I'm looking forward to this one.
What's it called again?
The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
And when does that come out?
That comes out, I believe, also in April 2022.
Oh, what an April, May we're going to have. What an April, May we're going to have.
What an April.
Yeah.
It's going to be brilliant.
I mean, pandemic aside. Let's not talk about that.
Yeah.
All right, Phil. Should we jump into some spoiler-free reviews for the listeners?
Let's bloody well do it, shall we?
Okay, I'll get this one kicked off. Let's start with the big one. In what appears to be the biggest box office hit of the year, Spider-Man No Way Home has been released as the follow-on to John Watts' two MCU-based Spider-Man movies, Homecoming and then, of course, Far From Home. This film sees Peter Parker, played by Tom Holland, in a New York where he has just been discovered as being Spider-Man. Thank you very much, J. Jonah Jameson, for telling everybody the true identity of Spider-Man. But basically, he's now hunted, hated for quote-unquote murdering, killing Mysterio, played by Jake Gyllenhaal in Spider-Man No Way Home, Far From Home, and is now kind of on the run or in hiding. We then see, and I'm only going to talk about things that obviously have happened in the trailer, but we then see a kind of rogues galley of Spider-Man villains from previous Spider-Man movies outside of the MCU, such as the Amazing Spider-Man and the Tobey Maguire, Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, which basically have been brought into this world by Doctor Strange, who is asked by Spider-Man, or Peter Parker, to cast a spell to make everybody in the world forget that he's Spider-Man. Something goes awry, and that then pulls through these villains from these other dimensions into the shared universe or multiverse. And this plays out in spectacular style. I mean, it's, just an epic movie. It's about 2.5 hours long. It goes to places you would never expect. It's real fan service to fans of every single Spider-Man franchise this millennium. It obviously, as you've got the likes of Tom Holland in there, who I think has been brilliant in all the other Spider-Man movies, but in this one he really has work to do. It's not just he's fun, flippant, cocky. It's also and a little kind of airheaded at times. In this, he also goes to darker places, but it still sits within the tone. Perfect performance. Zendaya's really great in this also. Standout as well, Jacob Batalon, who plays Ned, his best friend, is amazing in this. And I really loved laughed at pretty much everything that Ned did in this movie. He's the quote unquote guy in the chair or man in the van. Phil, you'll know how that feels. And obviously Benedict Cumberbatch is in this. You will have seen in the trailer Alfred Molina comes back as Doc Ock. You've seen, you'll have know that Jamie Foxx is in this. Rhys Ifans, Thomas Hayden Church as Sandman, and of course William Dafoe as movie mouth favorite as Green Goblin, or Norman Osborn, of course, from the very first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie. all I can say is shout out to writers Chris McKenna and Eric Summers, who wrote the previous two Spider-Man Home movies. Without a doubt, most fun I've had in the cinema. I saw this opening night, actually opening day. It was the first screening in my local theater in Manhattan, and the crowd noise was insane when certain characters arrive in this movie. I've never experienced a cinema trip like it. It was so much fun. People were literally flipping out. It was incredible. The last 40, I've seen this twice now, by the way, I will say. The last 45 minutes of this are up there with the best of any MCU movie, and shout out to Endgame, which I think that movie, pretty much the whole thing is incredible. But the last 45 minutes of this are just fan service, incredible, mind blowing. There's a whole character story arc in this about redemption and over hatred and fear and being a good person, and it's so fucking good. So if you like Spider-Man, if you've seen some of the previous Spider-Man movies, you haven't maybe seen all sequential MCU movies, don't think you really need to. I think this kind of brings you up to where you need to be, even if you haven't seen the Doctor Strange movies, for example. I think it's it's going to be up there in my movies of the year list. That's for sure. It's without a doubt the best MCU movie of the year. So as I'm sure you probably, if you listen to this podcast, have probably already seen it. If you haven't, then put your jets on and go watch it, because it's fantastic. This is out in theaters now, so it's only out in theaters, not on Disney Plus at the moment. So if you do get a chance to go see it in the cinema. I think it's worth seeing there, and let us know what you think. I mean, we did a poll on the Movie Mouth Instagram page, which went up earlier this week, asking whether it was the greatest MCU movie so far. 64% of you, our listeners, voted that it was the greatest MCU movie. So that's a big ask. Personally, I don't think it is. I think Endgame is still the best. But as I said, the last 45 minutes of this, it's like going to a theme park and having absolute wish fulfillment in every way, shape, and form. So go see it.
Awesome. I've heard nothing but good things, and now I've heard even more good things.
So excited just talking about it. I want to say so much more. The only thing I will say: stay off Twitter, stay off social media. Don't go looking for information about this film, because it will spoil it. And shout out to the BBC, by the way, who did a review on their BBC app website and spoilt it within the second paragraph. I was furious. So
Brilliant.
Absolute dumbasses. Don't do that ever again, BBC. All right. Okay, you've been warned.
Yeah. You listening from the BBC?
I mean, I think they're unforgivable. Oh, speaking of which,
good one. Good one. Yes, The Unforgivable. So this is it's the new Netflix drama, and it is based on the 2009 British miniseries The Unforgiven.
mm-hmm.
So a bit of a title change. Why not? Little play on words, clever, isn't it? So this so I'll go into the story a bit. So we're introduced to Ruth Slater, played by Sandra Bullock, as she leaves prison. She's leaving the prison.
She's leaving the prison.
She's leaving the
Goodspeed. You want me? I just left the prison, Goodspeed. You want me to break back into the prison?
As she's leaving prison, having served 20 years for the murder of a sheriff while trying to protect her baby sister during an eviction from the family home they were living in after their parents had died. What follows, I would say, is quite a hard-hitting and frankly quite depressing story, as she begins to try and get her life back on track. And she tries to reconnect with her sister, who is now with a foster family. She enlists the help of lawyer John Ingram, who's played by the excellent Vincent D'Onofrio, to try and connect with her sister, but is shall we say, hindered along the way by the now grown-up sons of the sheriff that she killed, as they sort of stalk her and plot to seek revenge of some description for their father's death. It's again, we don't spoil things here, so it's hard to talk about the plot anymore really without spoiling it, so I'll stop there with that. But I will say that performance wise it's okay. I think Bullock is, she proves that she's more than capable of handling serious roles like this, with really good effect. And as we know from her winning Oscars for in Blindside and her Oscar nominated role in Gravity, etc., we know she can do serious roles really well. She really does a good job of conveying the trauma and remorse of her character and the character's actions, and she does it really well. I do feel like I feel a bit like the plot lines get a bit unnecessarily busy in the film, and I think it would have been better to focus a little bit more on her backstory rather than what they do focus on. I think it's really well directed, though. I love it's got a really good look to it. It's well shot. There's a lot of like close up stuff. There's a lot of camera grain and sort of quite washed out colors in this, which again I suppose helps to give it that sort of depressing and sort of but it helps with the subject matter. Basically, it gives it that sort of look. So yeah, so let's put it this way: if you're looking for a feel good film to stick on to get you excited for the weekend, and this isn't it. As I said, it's depressing, it's gritty, it's emotional, and although it has strengths, and mostly decent performances, it's not really a memorable one for me. If anything, it made me more intrigued to go and watch the British miniseries that it's based on.
Yeah.
Which I think is like a 6-part thing. From 2000, as I said, from 2009. So it'd be interesting to watch that and compare, to see what they used from it and what they didn't. So if you fancy a watch, it's available on Netflix now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so you said it's kind of dark and a little depressing. I mean,
Yeah.
do you recommend this? Are you recommending it, or is it?
No, I do. It kept me entertained. It's quite, it's as I said, it's well acted. It's it's got a really good cast, as I said as well. It's got sorry, I mentioned much of the cast, did I? But it's got as I said, Vincent D'Onofrio in it as the lawyer. It's got John Bernthal in it.
Fantastic.
It's got
The
Viola
Punisher
Davis
and
in it.
Kingpin from the MCU.
Exactly. Viola Davis, who was she's brilliant in it as Vincent D'Onofrio's wife. So it has got a really strong cast and really good performances. But by most people, I think the guys maybe that played the sons of the sheriff, maybe it was a bit, I don't know. But yeah, I do recommend it. It kept me entertained, but it's not one that I'm going to like be in a rush to go back and watch again.
No. I know what you mean.
Because it's quite depressing.
But testament to Netflix for trying to bring something grown up to the platform, and something that's kind of engaging. And another Sandra Bullock movie after Bird Box, I think, was the last one she did for them.
Yeah, because
I quite like.
Did she produce that as well? Because she produced this, Sandra Bullock.
Yeah,
I think she's she's into producing and stuff, isn't she?
Yeah.
She produced this, but she was great in it.
Kind of Sunday afternoon film, isn't it? I would say this is kind of a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
Type. Stick it on,
Yeah.
and try and forget about the Sunday scaries of going back to work.
Yeah.
All right. So that's available on Netflix now.
Netflix right now.
All right. Well, okay. What do you want? I can give you The Matrix. I can give you The Kingsman. I can give you West Side Story. Which one do you want?
There's so many. Give me. I want to hear about The Kingsman. Please.
Okay. So The Kingsman. This is Matthew Vaughan returning with the prequel to a sequel of a series that no one seemed to ask for, except him. This sees Ray Fiennes back in 1917 or around that time play Orlando Oxford, who is the man who would found the covert covert operation that centered the first two films, which is this kind of Savile Row tailor shop, which kind of is a front for a kind of secret service called the Kingsmen.
Mhm.
This sees Orlando Oxford as he's actually the Duke of Oxford, and an important ally to King George IV, who's played by Tom Hollander, who also plays two other roles. He plays Kaiser Wilhelm and the Russian Tsar Nicholas in a pretty cool roles. And this is in the days before the kind of lack of gentlemanly combat. This is before World War One, where this kind of kicks off. Basically, from a plot perspective, it's about a shadowy group of nefarious villains throughout history, such as the Mad Monk Rasputin, Lenin, Kaiser Wilhelm, who we've also talked about, who are compiled by a shadowy, bald Scotsman who hates the English so much that he basically coerces them into starting World War One. And
Okay.
Bloody English.
It's all that kind of thing.
Bloody Longshanks.
So Longshanks. So yeah. You've probably seen the other two Kingsmen, or you've seen one of them at least. This film it goes slightly different. It goes to a slightly different place in that it's more, obviously it's a period set, but it's also slightly more grown up. But if there's one thing I can't stand in a movie, Phil, when it's produced, what is that? Do you know what that is?
No.
That's right. It's a shifting tone. I absolutely hate a shifting tone, Phil, as you know, clearly.
Oh yeah, that's that's it. Yeah, it's come to me now.
This is as I said, part period costume drama. World War II World War One hard hitting trench based combat and sorrow and death and mourning, but also bizarre Team America type comedy, which comes out of complete left field and knocks you for six. I'll try and think of an example. So there are serious scenes of this trench warfare, and the hardship of soldiers in World War One. There's also a scene where Rasputin is invited to dinner. By the way, Rasputin played by Rhys Ifans, who is also in Spiderman No Way Home.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of Ifans at the cinema this week. Where Rasputin is set up as a child molester in this film. And is invited to dinner with Ralph Fiennes and his son. Ralph Fiennes then pimps out his son to Rasputin to coerce him into having sex with him in a private room at the dinner,
Right.
only for Rasputin to shirk his advances and instead turn to Ralph Fiennes, take him into a private room, and you'll see. I mean, the most uncomfortable scene that I've probably been privy to in a cinema full of other adults, and I was on my own when I saw this. I felt really uncomfortable. All I can say is, should I say it? I'm going to say it. Rhys Ifans, long-haired, bedraggled with a beard. Imagine Bakewell tart crumbs in Rhys Ifans' beard, licking Ralph Fiennes' naked leg wound, which resembles a butthole, and both groaning with pleasure.
Shut up.
Yes, it happens in this movie. It is so weird, and it kind of underpins the things that I didn't like about the other two Kingsman films, which is that it kind of just went too far. And I love gross out comedy. I love stupid stuff that makes me laugh, but there's something really morose and an undercurrent of just darkness in some of the jokes in these films that, when twinned with the more kind of grown up action sequences and dialogue, just doesn't gel,
Right.
Like that whole joke about anal sex with the Swedish princess at the end of the first Kingsman movie, and Elton John being in the other movie, being a complete diva and calling everyone a cunt. Just really weird. Also in this, another thing that we both hate: unnecessary depiction of animal cruelty. There's a scene where a goat, for no apparent reason, is killed with a sword. Another goat gets his horn cut off with a sword. And it's even though it's CGI, I know it's CGI. I just don't think that we should be desensitizing people to that kind of violence, especially children, because it's done for laughs and
Yeah.
shock value. It's just,
Yeah. Right.
I fucking hate it. I hate it.
Yeah.
I don't know who this movie was marketed to. The first two were kind of aimed at like a kind of urban, youth demographic, and
Yeah. They were. Yeah.
sexual humor, shout outs, all that, shootouts, well edited and good soundtrack and all that kind of thing. This movie stars a 59-year-old Englishman running around in a tweed suit, in a camp comedy action spectacular, which mostly feels like a stuffy period war drama. That being said, I quite enjoyed it. I quite enjoyed it. I didn't hate it. I was confused by it. There's some things in there that didn't rub well with me, but the more I've thought about it, I kind of enjoyed it, and I would think that it would be a good day out to the movies if that kind of film sounds like you would like to go see it. So that being said, I don't think anyone wanted to see this. I think there's way better movies that are out there at the moment. I mean, Spider-Man we've already talked about. So I would definitely spend my money on those. But if you like spy dramas, comedies, Ray Fiennes, maybe give it a go. So begrudgingly recommending this. That's The King's Man. It's available everywhere now. Okay. Let's save the best till last. So I'm going to jump into West Side Story just really quickly. West Side Story. This is obviously a remake of the Stephen Sondheim musical classic. This is directed by Steven Spielberg. It stars Ansel Elgort and really a ton of actors that you probably haven't seen. It's really, really good. It's a very sharp, punchy musical. It's not, overtly saccharine like some of the other films that we've seen. In the Heights that came out earlier this year, Lin-Manuel Miranda. It's definitely more earthy, more gritty. It's set in that kind of post World War II era, on the west side of New York. And it's set in a really cool kind of. It's set around a time where they were demolishing a certain area of Manhattan for the Lincoln Center, which is the performing arts center that they built. For fans of the first Ghostbusters, it's where Peter Venkman does his weird spirals around the fountain in an orange shirt for no apparent reason. But that it's that area of Manhattan, and basically it has these wide, vast backlot sets of demolished buildings that a lot of the songs and the action is taking place in. It kind of reminded me a little bit, if fans of classic cinema, The Third Man, starring Orson Welles, which was based in Vienna, a post-World War II Vienna, which had been destroyed by bombs, and there was like all these kind of buildings that had been derelict and piles of rubble everywhere. It was like that. They definitely were aiming for something like that, I'm sure. All I'll say about this is it's quite long. It's like 2 hours 40 something, but it kind of flew by. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. It hasn't done well at the box office, but if you like musicals and if you love Steven Spielberg, this is definitely Spielberg's best film in years. I would say probably for me, probably since Munich. I would say. Maybe I'm missing some, but I think Munich's a masterpiece. And the biggest shout out has to go to Janusz Kaminski, his longtime cinematographer, who it looks stunning movie. I mean, it was up there for Greg Fraser to win the Academy Award for Dune. I don't know. Like, I'm not even a Janusz Kaminski fan. I find his work a little bit similar in every film that he's done for Spielberg, but I thought it looked fantastic, and there's some just incredible scenes in this. So West Side Story, it's out now. It's in the cinemas. I recommend you go see it. Again, it would be good one for the family if you're going to see your parents Christmas time. Would be a really good one to go see if you get the chance. So definitely recommend Steven Spielberg's West Side Story. And I'm going to finish out the review section with, without a doubt, the greatest sequel to a Matrix film that you will ever see, and that is The Matrix Resurrections. So I'll jump into the plot very, very quickly. Basically, this sees Keanu Reeves' Thomas Anderson returning. Obviously, he was Neo, or the one in the first three Matrix movies. He returns here as a game coder who has developed a sequel of very successful games called The Matrix Trilogy. Here being asked by, and I quote, the head company Warner Brothers to make a difficult sequel to a very successful trilogy. This is directed by Lana Wachowski, obviously of the Wachowskis, for the first time directing alone without her sister Lily. It's an interesting one. If you, like me, watch the first movie before going to see it, the parallels are really quite striking in resemblance of plot points. It's pretty much a kind of dry reboot based after the original Matrix, or is it? But that's pretty much where, any kind of positive for this film kind of runs out. This is without a doubt the worst movie I've seen in the cinema this year. And I mean, I've seen some shit this year. And coming off the back of a pandemic when we couldn't actually go to the theater for the first time in a long time since I can remember, I have felt like walking out of the screening. Truly terrible. Again, a very mixed tone all over the place. For most of it, it kind of feels like a comedy. Neil Patrick Harris is in this as a therapist, and I like Neil Patrick Harris. But his role as the analyst or the therapist in this it's very, very bizarre comedy, and it kind of it changes the tone of this dramatically. Where I was talking about the comparisons to the original Matrix, if you watch the original Matrix first and then you watch this, you see those long, languishing shots of cameras panning up buildings, or slow motion shots of feet running through puddles, or all these beautiful cityscapes. This is all very close up filmed, shot, digital camera, handy cam, tracking shots and all over the place. And there's nothing picturesque in this whatsoever. Any frame, and I would say this to anyone, if you can take any frame of that first Matrix movie, even the sequels, they are works of art. Every single frame of those movies you could print out and put it on a wall as a poster. This film looks like ass, and it really, the performances and so on, I mean, everybody is doing their best, but for me, it just really is a stinking pile of turd and a complete dumpster fire of a movie. And I have honestly never felt, I'm not a massive Matrix fan. I love the original Matrix. I didn't mind the sequels. I thought they were pretty cool. A lot of people hated them. This is so bad. It's so bad. There's even a moment in this where they're talking about bullet time. Hey, you remember Neo? Hey, you remember Thomas? You invented bullet time in those games. It was such a cool phrase. You just threw it out there. We need to come up with something. There's like this whole consensus group where they're trying to figure out how to make a sequel to this game. And oh man, there's a really off-tone, like colorblind scene where there's an action sequence happening, and people are becoming, they're kind of turning into villains, and just everyday people start jumping out of their tower block windows to try and land on this vehicle that one of our heroes is on, and committing suicide. And it was so tonally colorblind, so I don't know, painful to watch, and I don't know, and had a terrible end without any spoilers.
So would you recommend it then?
I honestly, it's on HBO Max now. You can watch it at home. Obviously, people who love The Matrix are going to watch it. Make your own minds up. I've seen some people that really love this. I think if you hadn't seen the original Matrix films, you may like this. You may think it's good. But for me, it felt cynical, and it took us all for as film fans and film nerds. It shit on all of us, and it kind of made us feel dumb for caring about something in the first place that is now being rehashed into a quote-unquote cynical sequel by quote-unquote Warner Brothers, which is quoted in this film in a very meta way. I fucking hated it, and I never want to discuss it ever again.
No, then.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
And that's the review section.
Moving on. Let's move on. Let's do...
Okay.
Do you know what? Fuck it.
Yeah.
It's time for this. Yes, for our listeners who are perhaps new to the Movie Mouth podcast, this is our video store corner, which is a classic film discussion section where we like to rent a movie from the video store era and sit down to watch it, just like back in the old days. And then what we do is we discuss it in spoiler-filled detail. We actually release our video store corner pick each week onto our Instagram account, into our Instagram story, where you can go and vote on which film we watch. So we usually put 2 up. You can vote on which one you prefer, and then we'll watch it. You can watch it along in anticipation for the episode once we tell you which one it is. So head on over to our Instagram account and search for @MovieMouth and hit follow to be alerted to when we're going to be announcing the next video store corner. And for that, a big thank you to our subscribers, followers, and listeners about their verdict on our Instagram poll, where this particular movie won out by a majority of 53% to 47% against Phil's favorite Christmas film, Die Hard.
Oh, I should have
Sorry,
voted
Phil.
myself. I could have swung the vote like a
possibly-
corrupt
possibly
politician.
Well, I mean, yeah. We've had enough of corrupt politicians over the last few years, haven't we? But Phil, what did we watch this week?
We watched a film we discussed earlier in the podcast, the classic National Lampoons Christmas Vacation. Yeah, as we said earlier in the top 5 Christmas films, it's just one of those films you put on every year without fail.
Melikilikimaka is the thing to say.
And you know what? I'll say straight away, because I forget again, and I don't know why. And I said this earlier to you. When the credits come up and it's got like the opening credits, and it's got this weird like animated
Nothing like an
Santa
80s movie that for no apparent reason had an animated intro. Like Weekend at Bernie's 2. Yeah.
Yeah, like out of nowhere. Ridiculous. But still, it's still good. But the song, like the Christmas Vacation song, like, and again, I say this a lot, but like, I wish they still made like proper movie tie-in films. I wish artists still did proper like 80s style film.
That would be a great question to ask on the next episode.
Yeah.
Greatest
we need to
movie
do that.
tie-in songs.
Look at us brainstorming during the episode.
Love it. Thanks, listeners. Are you still with us? Then Phil shall continue.
So the Christmas Vacation song starts playing, and I'm just like, why is this not like played on the radio? Like over so much of the Christmas shit that they play every year. From Mariah Carey and fucking George Michael's Last Christmas and Cliff Richard, for fuck's sake. Just play Christmas Vacation song. Brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
It's Mavis Staples, isn't it, that sings the Christmas Vacation song?
Yeah. It's awesome. And so I'm going to make it a thing that I'm going to listen to that more at Christmas time because it's good.
I
Anyway,
might listen to it this Christmas. I might put it on this Christmas. I might make a movie playlist this Christmas on Spotify and publish it and share it for our listeners. How about that? Why don't we do that? Let's do that. We're going to do that. We're going to put together a Christmas song playlist on Spotify and we will share it on our Instagram for our listeners.
Perfect. That sounds like a good idea. Look at you. All the ideas come in.
So talk us through the plot of this. So National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, for those of you that haven't seen it.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say. It's Clark Griswold from the family Griswold, as you'll know from the other vacation movies.
Yep.
And he's really into Christmas. And he promises to make it a good one until he turns everything completely around, causing a domino effect of disasters. The like only he can create.
Yes.
So it's Clark Griswold. You see a bit more of his life, Clark Griswold's life in this. He's like a marketing, like a product executive, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he's
in
like
Chicago.
in Chicago, and he's like counting on his
Damn it, greaseball!
he's counting on his Christmas bonus. Basically, basically the story revolves him wanting to install a swimming pool.
We're getting
in his
there.
family
Hold
home.
on. He will tell the story at some point. Sorry, carry on.
No, actually, I don't need to go into that. Basically, it's Clark Griswold, and it's his family
Chevy
come out for
Chase,
Christmas.
of course, played by Chevy Chase.
Chevy Chase, and everything just goes wrong.
Yeah.
Everything that can go wrong goes wrong.
He's kind of an every guy, suburban dad, nerdy dad, that is incredibly highly strung. Which I don't think came across when I was a kid. I don't think it came across how highly strung he was. I just thought he was a nice man.
Really?
But yeah, I think so.
Even at the end of like Vacation, when he's just like
That's true. When he basically takes someone hostage, that is true. Yeah, no,
I mean, at the beginning of this film, he has a road rage incident, like immediately,
and it's but that was all of our dads, wasn't it? Back in the late 80s, early
that's
90s.
me, mate. Every week when I drive to work,
I bet it is. I can imagine you driving under a lorry carrying trees on it, and just it's just that whole opening is amazing, by the way, because it just shows the amount of pressure and stress that he's under to make it the best Christmas ever. Because basically the backstory is that his dad always gave them amazing Christmases, and he wants to live up to that. And he's got his family coming to visit with his 2 kids and his wife, played by Beverly D'Angelo, and they're going to find a Christmas tree to the Griswold's family Christmas tree, and they're driving down a road, like a forest road. And some guy's tailgating him, and he just puts his foot on the gas because he's just pissed off by it, and then starts tailgating him, and then it's just this whole chaos ensuing, isn't it? It's just brilliant. It's just everybody's dad from the 90s, when dads were just hard. Like, no one was afraid of like getting stabbed or getting shot at the side of the road. It was like, no, dad would pull over, he'd get out of the car, he'd have a punch up, then he'd get back in the car, and then he'd take you to Wimpy.
He take you to Wimpy for a Frankfurter burger.
Was that the burger that had like the slices in it?
It's cut weird, down man. It was made as a giant Frankfurter as a burger.
I want one of those now. I remember you see it out on the menu, and it just looked juicy and delicious. By the way, Wimpy's no longer around, so we're not sponsored by Wimpy, but it was a restaurant chain in the UK before we had McDonald's.
One local to me,
in every town,
which was like the last one I could think of, has only shut down in the last 6 months.
Really?
Yeah. It's turned into a Mediterranean restaurant now.
Ooh, lamb souvlaki. So, moving on. Tell us a little bit more about the cast in this.
So we've got Beverly D'Angelo returning as his lovely wife Ellen, and his kids. In every Vacation film, they're played by different people. So in this one, they're played by Audrey, his daughter, is played by Juliette Lewis, who I'm sure a lot of you know, and his son Rusty is played by.
Do you mind? Close the fucking door, please. I love her in from Dust Till Dawn.
Rusty is played by Johnny Galecki, who a lot of people will know from lots of things, but mainly The Big Bang Theory, I suppose. And then you've got the amazing Randy Quaid back in it as his cousin Eddie. He's like the best character, like the most annoying asshole that you love. So he's back in it. You got a good cast in this actually. And obviously, Chevy Chase being Chevy Chase.
Oh man, what about Todd and Margot, the next door neighbors, the 2 yuppie next door? They got these next door neighbors. One of them is played by Julia Louis Dreyfus from Seinfeld, who
that's right.
You'll know as Elaine in Seinfeld, and Todd as well. And they live in a suburban area of Chicago, but they're 2 childless yuppies that do nothing but drink power shakes and wear shiny silver tracksuits.
Those workout suits, like the sweat suits, like the proper like sweat like things that just like drip inside. Oh yeah. It's they live in the most 80s/90s house, because this was made in 89, right? This film. So they live in the most 80s/90s house possible, like in interior design.
That's what I was saying actually while I was watching it. The production design of this is amazing. How they made this house, the set of this house, look and feel like a house from that period, like lived in. Like there's just weird stuff, posters and stuff, and like baskets full of crap in the loft space and like in the attic. And there's the garage, which has got like random like power plugs stuck
the
everywhere
plugs
and a weird.
plugged everywhere. Yeah,
It's just so lived in. It's such a
Yeah.
lived in house. They went like, you watch films now and it's like you see like a house and it's like generic house, generic family home. You know,
it's like copy and paste. Like find this
Copy
modern
and
house
paste.
and just
There's no effort, zero effort. It's like, oh, that'll do. You know, yeah, it's just a
Yeah.
house. You know,
yeah. You get the same feel that you do for like the McAllister's house in a way
you do.
in Home Alone.
You do
I think.
exactly.
It feels
Exactly. I
similar.
didn't see Home Sweet Home Alone, but I'm guessing that they made that generic as anything. But house fact, by the way, this house is on the Warner backlot. It's also
It is.
Roger Murtaugh's house from Lethal Weapon movies.
I know. I've got other trivia, but I don't think that was one.
We'll come on to that. We'll come on to that.
But that was one I left out actually, so that's good that you mentioned it.
Well, I didn't find it on IMDb.
You're covering all the bases. Go fuck yourself. How do you think I'd find all the trivia? Don't tell the listeners; they'll find it themselves, and I'll have nothing to do.
I have too much time going to the theatre 5 times a fucking week.
Yeah,
right. No. So I what I really love about this movie is that family Christmas setting, and you've got the big meal scene, where everyone sits down for the turkey, and you've got the elderly relatives that are kind of have gone from their role of being the patriarch and matriarch into being like these kind of background players, and Clark now taking control, and them all sitting down for dinner. I mean, there's just some amazing scenes in this. We haven't talked about Cousin Eddie.
No, I mentioned him, like Randy Quaid being in it. It's the way he turns up is amazing. I'll just say that, like the scene you were just talking about, like the family coming together.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite scenes in this is like when all of the relatives arrive. They all seem to arrive like at once for some reason, and there's just this really weird, like, but really awesome chaos scene, like quick cuts to like close-ups of the kids' faces while they pinch their cheeks, and it's just like chaos. Everyone's talking over each other, but you hear the odd bits of line. It's like, oh, look how tall you are now, and it's just like, oh, and there's like loads of little lines in there that are brilliant, and it's just chaos, and it's just like you could just see this is like the shit's hit the fan, like everyone's here, and it's just going to be chaos from here on in.
Yeah, and you got to give your bed up to like your grandma, and like they kind of smell a bit weird. I don't really want them in my room, and now I got to share my room with my sister or whatever.
Yeah,
it's brilliant. It's funny. It manages to hit all the different levels, the different viewpoints. So if you're a kid watching it, you empathize with the kids and you see all that stuff going on, but you're excited because there's an animated intro and there's presents and Christmas trees and sledding and all that kind of thing. But then as an adult, you see all the other layers that are suburban monotony and dreaming for bigger things and wanting bigger things, but being stuck in a certain life or whatever it might be. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. That's what makes this film. This is what makes these films from these era, from the video store corner era, I think, the classics that they are, because there's so many different levels that you can go back and watch and appreciate. And it's not just a movie about a man who wants to have the best Christmas in his house, with his family coming over and falling off a ladder. Like it's so much more than that, isn't it? It's on so many different levels.
Yeah, definitely.
What would you say is your favorite scene of this film?
Favorite scene.
So many.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot. I must admit, I do like it when he when he goes like mental. When oh no, there's too many. I really like it when he finally, because basically in the film he puts like 25,000 or whatever it is light bulbs all over his house. He goes for like the biggest.
It's 25,000. I remember watching it. And go, that's a lot of fucking light bulbs.
That's
a
lot.
American movies. In American movies, they often say 2,500, and you're like 2,500. Geez, that sounds like a lot. Oh, it's 2,500. And in this, he says 25,000 bulbs.
And
I'm like,
wow.
Did he get that right? Did he say 2,500 or 2,500? No, it's 25,000 bulbs he has in his house.
Yeah. And he spends all this time. He's up on the roof. He falls off the gutter. He like slides down the roof. He falls down the ladder. Lots of effort. And yeah, it's just this ongoing, like, they don't work the first time he plugs them in. And then he's like out there all night trying to work on it. He falls into the bush, and his wife comes out and says, dinner's ready. He's like, I'll be right there. Like, he says from the bush that he's fallen into. And then, yeah, when he just finally it's the scene where like he's trying to get it to work, but it's the switch in the garage that is actually like for some reason turning the lights on and off, and someone's doing it by accident, and he keeps thinking he's making it work, and then it doesn't work. It goes off again when after another big reveal, and he just has like a complete breakdown and just starts like smacking the shit out of all of the Santa and reindeer decorations, and yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes.
It's the meltdown. I think the meltdown as well after that, where he doesn't get his Christmas bonus. The check comes through. It's the Jelly of the Month Club voucher that he gets from his boss, played by Bill Murray's brother.
What
is it, greaseball? And it's just the meltdown. There's a really striking F-bomb in this film. I don't know if it's in Europe. Is it in the European version? Because I think I had it on DVD and I don't remember this scene. I remember the scene being in it, but I don't remember this line being in it. But there's this whole thing anyway, and he says, "Where do you think you're going? Nobody's leaving. Nobody's walking out on this fun old-fashioned family Christmas. No, we're all in this together. This is a full-blown 4-alarm holiday emergency here. We're going to press on. We're going to have the happiest Christmas since Bing Crosby tap danced with Danny fucking Kaye. And then Santa's going to squeeze his fat ass down that chimney tonight. He's going to find the jolliest bunch of assholes this side of the nut house." Like, holy fuck. Like, Chevy Chase in that scene, it's so fucking. I didn't do that any justice whatsoever. But when you see it in the movie, it's so
highly strung.
good.
Yeah,
it's just meltdown, isn't it?
Do you know what the funny thing about that? When he's having that meltdown and he's saying all of the expletives, right? Apparently, and this is a bit of trivia that I don't know for later on, but I read it anyway. But each cast member that he was staring at during that had apparently like around their neck, like a different like curse word on a piece of like card around their neck, so that when he was staring at them and the camera was pointing at him, he would look at them for reference to include them in like the off the cuff sort of like rant that he was doing. Yeah. As like a bit of a reference, which is quite interesting.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's cool.
I mean, he goes off on a couple of those, and he does the other one where he talks about his boss being a cheap, lying, no good, rotten, foul, flushing, low life, snake licking, dirty, inbred, overstuffed, ignorant, blood sucking, dog kissing, brainless, dickless,
that's the scene. That's
fat
the
ass,
one
bug eyed, stiff legged, spotty lip, worm headed sack of monkey shit he is. Hallelujah, holy shit. Where's the Tylenol?
Yeah. We're talking about lines and stuff. Like my favorite line that never fails to make me laugh in this, and it is easily my favorite one, and it's a really simple one, and it's when he's in the garden near the beginning, and he's cut down his tree, and he's got this ridiculous massive tree, and he walks out of his garage with like the hockey mask and the chainsaw on, doesn't he? And they do a whole like Jason sort of like, you know, little setup thing. It's quite funny. But then the yuppie neighbors are out in the yard, aren't they? Like out the front. And then the guy, Todd, like the neighbor, says to him, "Hey, Griswold, where you think you're going to put a tree that big?" And he says, "Bend over and I'll show you." Right? Brilliant. That's already good, right? And then he goes, "You've got a lot of nerve talking to me like that, Griswold." And then Clark says the best line. He said, "I wasn't talking to you." Because his wife's standing next to him. It's absolutely amazing. Always makes me laugh, that line, because like the shock on their faces.
I think that is such a good. I love those two. Like they like hate Christmas. They think it's gaudy and cheap and crappy and overblown, and they're in the wrong neighborhood for that, you know. But then the next door to the worst person, complete counterfoil to them, and obviously everything that Clark does in some way impedes their, impedes their
like
success.
You would hate him if you lived next to him. You would.
You'd fucking hate him. You fucking hate him. With all the lights come on, they're blinding them. They're trying to sit there having like a meal, and like they're drinking like nice wine and listening to like orchestral music, and like the lights come on and like blinds them, and they're like falling over.
The tree flies through the window.
Oh. Yeah, maybe we should get a tree this year. Where are we going to find a tree on Christmas Eve, Margot? And then the tree falls through because he chopped it down. I love the scene. I love the scene with and the line when he goes gift shopping with Rusty, his son, and he goes to the department store to buy lingerie for his wife, Ellen, and he meets the clerk. The kind of attractive female clerk in the lingerie section, and that whole scene is just, I mean, I can't do it justice, but if you've seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. and he's just fawning over the words, and he's trying to say the right thing. He's like, she's like, "Oh, who are you buying the underwear for?" And he's like, "Oh, for my wife." And he's like, "God rest her soul." She's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry she died." No, we're divorced, and it's
Yeah.
just like this whole thing, and then he's like, and he blah blah blah, blah, yeah, Merry Christmas. And she's like, "That's my name, Mary," and he's like, "No shit."
Yeah.
I just love that. It's just such a great scene. Such a great scene.
Yeah.
Oh, what a movie. Just even talking about it's put a smile on my face. Come on
Yeah,
then, give us
right.
some trivia.
Some trivia. Okay, right. So after failing to get the Christmas lights to work one last time, Clark Griswold takes his frustration out on the plastic decorations in the front yard, which is what I was mentioning earlier when he has that massive breakdown. Chevy Chase actually broke his pinky finger while punching the Santa Claus in that scene. So he resorts to kicking and clubbing the decorations after that because they kept rolling with it, and the tape.
Yeah, he's like
used in the
slapping
film.
the antlers off the reindeer, isn't he?
Yeah, he broke his little finger when he punched when he punched the Santa, and it flies really comically off. Yeah. So that's a good one. And then
That's great.
this is the final film of Mae Questel, and she plays like is it Clark's aunt, or it's his aunt, isn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah, it is. It plays his like really elderly, like crazy aunt.
Hey,
And-
Grizz.
Hey, great. Yeah. And
Labor!
so really cool, this one, that her film, so this is the final film that she appeared in, but her film career began in 1930 as the voice of Betty Boop.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's really
Oh,
cool, isn't it?
That makes
Yeah.
sense. That makes
does.
total sense.
Yeah, because
She's
you
the
can
voice
hear
of
it
Betty
like
Boop.
when you say it, like, because her voice is very distinctive, isn't it?
Seriously.
Then like little in facts, like the shoes that Eddie, like Randy Quaid, who's brilliant in this, wears are the same ones that he gave Clark as a gift in the original Vacation film.
Wow.
There's lots of little well, here's another one. The old Dodge pickup that tailgate, this is a great one, I love this one. The old Dodge pickup that tailgated Clark and the family in the opening scenes of the movie was previously used as Kirk Russell's work truck in Overboard, the Kurt Russell
Oh
and
my
Goldie Hawn
goodness.
80s classic.
Wow.
And it was also used in They Live in 1988, the Roddy Piper cult classic as well.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
that's
weird
really
because
cool,
we
isn't
talked about that last week, didn't we, on Video Store?
We did, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the truck was used in that. The green, like the the really old sort of like Chevy truck or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Dodge truck, yeah. So as we know, this was produced by, we didn't mention it actually, but it's produced by the legendary John Hughes.
Yep.
And
Written by him as well, right?
Yeah.
Written by him. Yeah.
Yeah. It was written and produced by him. Yeah. And it was originally he bought on board Chris Columbus to direct this.
Wow.
Okay.
Home Alone, obviously.
Yeah, Home Alone. But apparently, even before the cameras could roll, Columbus came to the realization that he just could not work with the difficult Chevy Chase after meeting him. Even though he desperately needed the job at that point in his career, Columbus decided to quit the project. He was worried it would end his career. But then Hughes brought him in to direct Home Alone, 1990, which became a massive hit a year later, earning like 6 times the amount of money that Christmas Vacation did, with a budget of almost $10 million less.
Wow.
Yeah.
$10 million less. That's incredible.
Yeah, right.
That
a lot
testament to Chris Columbus, because that set that they built in that swimming pool. If you've seen that, how that the movies that made us on Netflix, the little show where they talk about, there's an episode about Home Alone, and they show how they built the set, didn't they, in the swimming pool, like that. That's amazing. This movie, where did the budget go? Maybe on some of the stunts, the car stuff at the beginning.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure, really. Yeah, maybe the car stuff is probably, Despite being a Christmas movie, Christmas Day is never actually seen. The film ends on Christmas Eve.
24th, that's right.
Yeah. Interesting. It's fun, isn't it? Well, you've already mentioned that the house that
the house that Murtaugh built.
host that, yeah, so that it was featured in the Lethal Weapon movie. So you've already done that one.
Yeah.
And then last one, when Clark and Rusty are taking the Christmas decorations boxes from the garage, the station wagon from the first Vacation movie can be seen covered with dust in the garage behind them.
Oh wow,
Yeah, that's really cool.
Ghostbusters Afterlife style.
Yeah, it is. It's just like the Afterlife. There's loads of little ones in this. It's really good. Yeah, that's some of the trivia I've got for you.
That's
Really
absolutely
interesting ones
awesome. I love them all. I think, if you haven't seen this and you're a John Hughes fan, you've got to check this out. Obviously, fans of Ferris Bueller, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Uncle Buck, The Breakfast Club, Home Alone, we mentioned. Go watch them. And this is definitely up there with all of those, I think. Is this your favorite Chevy Chase performance?
No, I think I probably prefer him in Vacation, like the first
Really?
Vacation. Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I liked him in this. Like, it's the same sort of thing, isn't it? Basically,
Would you say so? Is the first Vacation your favorite of the Vacation movies?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's the one I've got the most like childhood connection with. I think.
Yeah.
Christmas
Wally World.
Vacation too, but like, yeah, Wally World, and I just remember watching that when I was younger, which I probably shouldn't be. I suppose it's quite adult,
I
really,
love-
and European
I
Vacation
love-
as well.
I love Christmas Vacation. I think it's my favorite. But I do like, and it's slightly problematic these days, but I love Fletch.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah. I think no, we haven't done that for Video Stalker, have we? I actually
No.
watched that relatively recently because my wife hadn't seen it, and she
Well,
was
I've
not
never
a
seen
fan.
Fletch 2.
Oh, Fletch
Fletch
lives,
Lives,
isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Not sure about that, but because it's funny actually, because Carly, my wife, had never seen Vacation, the original Vacation,
Wow.
and she hadn't seen Fletch, but she hadn't. Had she seen Christmas Vacation? I don't know. Maybe I don't see how you could have not seen Christmas Vacation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, she hadn't seen either of those, and she loves this. She liked Vacation. She didn't like Vacation as much as I did, and I think
I don't like Vacation. I saw this film, I think, more or before I saw the first Vacation movie.
Okay. And if you watched Vacation now for the first time, you'd probably find it a lot less funny than you did.
I agree.
I don't have you wouldn't have the connection with it that I had when I was younger.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I don't know, but
Let's not talk about that Vacation movie starring Ed Helms as a grown-up Rusty Griswold. You ever see that?
No, I've never seen it. I never have any desire to watch that ever.
There was a good moment in it. I think Chris Hemsworth was in it. Was it Chris Hemsworth? I think it was Chris Hemsworth. It was one of the Hemsworths. It was one of the Hemsworths. He was in it, and he played like this kind of lover of, I think, his sister maybe, or something like that.
Right.
And that was the best thing in it. It was like a kind of cameo role, but that was without a doubt the best thing in it. But
there was a Vacation film, like one of the newer ones, where actually Chevy Chase and Beverly D'Angelo like made like a cameo together, like as a couple.
I know,
but
that they were in the Vacation movie. Yeah, they were in the Vacation movie.
Yeah, I don't have any desire to watch any of the new ones, if I'm honest.
No. I mean, you shouldn't. It was awful.
Yeah.
And problems aside with Chevy Chase these days, it's kind of problematic to talk about him.
Yeah,
definitely cancel culture, but yeah. Well, I mean, clearly we love this movie.
Yes.
And
yes,
it's Christmas incarnate. I think, if you haven't watched this Christmas, or over the holiday period, then you should definitely sit down to watch National Lampoons Christmas Vacation, written by John Hughes, starring the wonderful, at the time, Chevy Chase. Go check it out. Where was this one available in the UK, Phil?
This was available. Where did I rented it from? Because I was surprised actually, because it's normally all over Netflix, but then I had to rent it from, I think it was Amazon. I rented it from on here. Yeah, I guess because they put it at Christmas and they think people want to watch this at Christmas, we're going to charge them for it. But the rest of the year it's probably on Netflix.
Naughty bastards. In the US, this is available on HBO Max, Warner Brothers, of course.
Okay.
So where you can watch this so for free. So go check it out. National Lampoons Christmas Vacation. All right. Anything else?
No,
I
don't think so.
So join us on the next Movie Mouth podcast, slice of movie and TV related podcast fun. As mentioned, that's going to be a review of the year 2021 and a look forward to 2022. But before then, please follow our Facebook and Instagram accounts at Movie Mouth Podcast and hit subscribe or give us a nice 5-star review on your podcast player of choice. We really appreciate it if you could do that. And also check out our new website, www.moviemouthpodcast.com. There's just one last thing to say, Phil, isn't there? I mean, it's Christmas time, so
yeah, I'll say it. Merry Christmas, Miles.
Simply having a wonderful Christmas time.
No.
Merry Christmas, Phil. No. Okay.
No, not that one.
Bar humbug.
No, don't do that ever again. Merry Christmas, mate. Have a good one.
You too, mate. And Merry Christmas to all of our listeners out there. Thanks for tuning in this year. And we will see you on the other side. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye then.
Bye then.
Ta-ta.
Bye-bye.